So welcome again, another live. Again, a quick one on the subject today is going to be about bullying people for likes, for attention, which is basically the essence of bullying anyway. It's always about getting attention and being top dog. And what I'm finding is that there are grown-ass adults who are taking people's vulnerable moments and stitching it in some way to judge it. I'll give you an example. I just came across a video of a young girl in college wanting to buy lip gloss, and for whatever reason she's filming it because, you know, she's of that generation where every fucking thing she does is filmed, and that's just the generation that we live. The young generation, just that's what they do. They film every fucking thing and upload every moment. And she's having an anxiety. She's having a panic attack. And she wants money to buy this lip gloss because, again, consumership is weaned in our children. The next toy, the next this, the next that. You know what I'm saying? And so this girl, this young woman, decided that it was a good idea to do a video on it to get 100,000 likes, because that's the point, you see. And because the girl, once she realized that she, you know, her mom's on the phone trying to send her the money, calling her out in a way, but saying, I've got it, I'm sending it to you, this is the amount of money you have. The kid didn't even know she had the money to buy the lip gloss. But the point is, it was an unconscious move on this young girl. And this other young woman decided that it was a good idea to post it and shame this kid on a moment of mental distress. Addiction comes in many forms. It's not just drugs and alcohol or gambling. It's fucking shopping. It's overeating. It's sexting. It's over starving yourself, fasting. Addiction comes in many forms. And when people are having an overt nervous system breakdown over lip gloss, you gotta if you have a half a fucking brain, you need to figure out that it's not about lip gloss. It's something way, way deeper. Very similar to how women, especially in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, who would be anorexic, bulimic. It was the only thing they could control was what they put in their mouth. It was the one thing of all the things around the world that they could control: food. And the hyper obsession of food and the disconnection of their body. So here's this girl trying to get a lip gloss and having a fucking panic attack. I kid you not. And this girl decided to, you know, with the little grin, don't worry, it was deleted, but don't worry, I saved it, so I'm going to stitch it. And proceeds to shame this girl who clearly deleted it because she doesn't want it to go any further. Probably second thoughts, probably regret, shame, embarrassment, whatever. That is a bully. And that is a form of bullying. And I think that we've lost an understanding of what bullying is. Overt bullying, I think you know what it is. You've witnessed it in school, especially if you went to public or private school. You know exactly what bullying is, overtly. Teachers can also bully in a classroom, which isn't talked about enough. Oh, teachers, I don't put teachers on pedestals. I've had two great teachers that I still adore. But most of the teachers were pedestrian thinkers. But bullying on the internet, like I remember this kid that was coming out gay. I think he was I feel like crying when I say this. He was 9 years old. And they decided it was a good idea to bully him on Facebook. And he attempted to take his life. That's the kind of bullying we all understand. Okay? But what I just described is another form of bullying. Sometimes you should ask yourself, is this necessary? She shouldn't talk to her mother like that. She's literally having a fucking nervous breakdown over lip gloss. And it's not over lip gloss. The lip gloss is a symbol to something much deeper in her emotional state of being. And to lose that lip gloss, if it sells out, oh my God, was what she was saying. Oh my God. She was literally hyperventilating. That's a form, I hate to use the word mental illness because it has a massive stigma, which I'll explain in a minute, because it does. I hate that word mental illness. It's a nervous system breakdown. It's an emotional implosion. See, now I'm going to use different words because mental illness, when Catherine Zeta-Jones, the famous actress, a gorgeous woman, she had a contract with T-Mobile. And the minute she came out that she had bipolar disorder, within 48 hours, all of her T-Mobile contracts were fucking scrapped. Gone, basta. Bye-bye. And that was in 2000, the early 2000s, thereabouts. I forgot the actual year. So mental illness has a massive shaming quality in society, though no one wants to admit to that, but it does. And to belittle a young woman who made a mistake in sharing a moment of her anxiety over something admittedly trite, fucking lip gloss, but to actually post it is actually disgusting. Because if the girl still had the video on, I'd say, well, there you go. It's available for that. But even then, I would ask, is it necessary? What does it teach? Unless you compassionately stitch and go, wow, this young woman, what is she going through? Because it's certainly not about the lip gloss. It's about something else. And I hope she gets the help she needs because it's more than that. There's something underpinning this panic attack over an item that will mean nothing in 2 years, much less a year, much less 6 months. We as content creators cannot chase the likes and the fucking follows over shit that is going to harm other people for a timeline that we will never see. We have no idea what some of these stitchings and duettings are doing to people who have no control, who most likely these content creators have blocked. But they'll find it through reposting and repackaging. And they become a laughing stock. And the content creator who made that decision does not get a backlash in the 3D world. But I can tell you, karma doesn't miss her mark ever. So you have to be kind. You have to be compassionate. You know how many fucking things I could actually post on shysters, content creators talking about twin flames, bullshit artists. I could fucking stitch all day long. I would have hundreds of thousands of views and likes. My algorithm would explode. But I don't do it. Why? Because it's cruel. Because people need to make their own decisions. Because I'm not here on a witch hunt to harm anyone. I have spoken about certain people without ever naming their names to say be careful. For a purpose. And if you're smart, you'll figure out who it is. Or if you don't know, you'll figure out by some of the things that I've shared as to what, the red flags, not to proceed. And you'll go, wait, Tony talked about this. I don't know if that's the person, but I'm getting that vibe. I do things like that to give you contrast because, to be honest, a lot of people are they're telling me to say the word naive in the spiritual world as they wake up and rub the sleep from their eyes to their ascension pathway, right? So I'm not here to bully people, but I'm not here to also not say something because bullying is so dangerous. And this concept of mean girls is a real thing. It's still a problem. There was a young Irish girl. She had left. I think her father had married an American woman. She was, 100% Irish, meaning she was all through and through Irish. And she probably lost her virginity when she was like 13 or 14, that kind of thing, right? And she went to America. And it was hard for her. She has the Irish accent. Beautiful young girl, 15. And one of the boys in high school, I guess had a thing for her. And his ex-girlfriend got very, very jealous. She was a very beautiful girl. And they kept calling her the SLUT. And they were bullying her, pelting her, pouring milk down her shirt, shit like that. Fun shit that there's no way teachers and administrators did not know this was going on. And these kids should have been thrown out of fucking school for fucking 8 days to fucking a month. You're out. You're fucking out. Why? Because this young girl who had just landed in America was being pelted with, fruit, whatever, things. All the way she was walking home from these mean girls and ended up taking her life. I won't go into the graphics, but she took her life in a moment of desperation and pain and self-loathing. So we understand graphic bullying. We know what graphic bullying does to people. Especially the most vulnerable are teenage kids. Teenagers go through the most extraordinary hormonal, mental, emotional, and spiritual shifts and biological shifts that are very confusing. And if you're a parent that's an asshole and you don't want to talk to them about sex and hormonal changes, and you don't want to take hikes with them and really get to know your kid because you're too fucking busy, you're going to reap the rewards of massive depression. You might even possibly have a kid that ends up being narcissistic to some level, or becomes so alone that they find a fake family that has them doing the wrong things, and they start committing crimes or giving their bodies away to whoever wants their body. Teenage years are the most vulnerable years, yet the most powerful years a human being can go through, navigate. And this young woman was in her early 20s in college. So she was still probably, honestly, a 16-year-old girl, emotionally speaking. To no fault of her own. It's not to put her down. But the woman, because she was a woman in her 20s, late 20s, early 30s, should have known better. And we as a society, we need to do better by not giving likes and attention to people who think that to create content on the backs of people who are suffering various challenges is wrong. I could see going after a pedo. Don't get me wrong. Fuck that. I'm all for that. But first of all, we need challenges is wrong. I could see going after a pedo. Don't get me wrong. Fuck that. I'm all for that. But first of all, we need to red flag that person so other people know what they look like. We need to red flag it, but we need to also make sure we have proof and no, we're not harming someone who's innocent. We need to make sure as your hand in front of your face. You better make sure. But we need to call out these content creators. I'm sorry, friends. Don't just scroll by and go, not my problem. Yeah, it's a fucking problem because it could affect your kid, your grandkid, your sister. You never know. We all go through moments of incredible implosions. Sometimes people are on screen crying. I can tell the ones that are crying is for real. They just want, please, somebody tell me I'm not alone. And some people do it to get attention and likes. I can tell. I can right away know the con artist with the emotional, bullshit card. I want, and I would never shame them. But I know that that's what they're about. But there's some that are really genuinely trying to figure this shit out. Like they're fucking having a nervous breakdown on screen. So it's not something you stitch at all. It's not something you do to get likes and then shame or question or, you should get your fucking opinions. You want to help people, of course, but you want to do it with as much gentility and compassion as possible, because people sometimes are on the edge. Literally by a thread do they hang. And any wrong move can actually push them to do something rash to themselves. Yeah, even a video stitch on a lip gloss. Because it's not about the lip gloss. It's not about having a temper tantrum because you're not getting a dress for your prom or whatever, right? It isn't. There was a really good series. I forgot the name of the author, but I can tell you it was a series of cassette tapes from the 80s called If the Buddha Was in Love. And in it, it talked about how when adults are having the kind of temper, and we're talking about fucking screaming, losing their shit tantrums as adults, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old people. It is a telltale sign that they were essayed as children, as 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds, and they did not have a voice to speak out. It was like yelling help underwater. And so when people think it's funny to videotape somebody losing their shit and you want to judge them as to why they would do that, think again. It's a trauma from a time when they could not say no and no one checked in on them. I had a friend who was being essayed for years by her uncle, and her mother denied her. She would tell her mother, she told her mother multiple times, and she was slapped in the face, told not to be a liar, a dirty little girl. Okay? She was born in 1947. She's a boomer. And it has impacted her sexuality and her intimacy her entire life. It has ruined her root chakra. And she's a very spiritual woman. And she's trying to heal the final leg of her journey before she drops her body. God bless her. I hope she's in her 80s and 90s. She's a vibrant woman. She's actually my twin's lover from when they were after he met me, he met her. I met my husband. And they were lovers for 9 years, and we became best friends because we're from the same soul tribe, but it was her. That's how soul tribes work. Anyway, I hope this makes sense. And so I'm not saying go bully the bullies. I'm saying question them. Is this kind? Is this helpful to that person and others? What is the purpose of this? Because I know they haven't thought this through. There's no fucking way. All they wanted was an idea for a video. And that is toxic fucking behavior. And so this is covert bullying using social media. And I hope you can not scroll by and just say, was this necessary? So you're doing this for likes. How is this helping this person suffering? I love how some people, everything I said, the collective is done with an injustice. Exactly. Well, I wouldn't say the collective. I think there's a small number because I think, we'll see. We'll see how we go. But everything I just said, I'm going to read something to you because this is really important. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Every word I said was of pure heart. I know this for a fact. And some people came on my live to try to bully me, to shut down because they're bullies. And they recognize themselves in what I was saying. They actually saw themselves. And this triggered them. Don't you find that interesting? I find that fascinating. So bullying is something that you might, if you have children in school, in classrooms, I want you to sit and volunteer. And you'll see other kids being bullied. And you need to go to the parents of those children and say, look, this is happening. I remember my son, who was 5 years old, being accused of all kinds of shit that he was not doing. And a parent came up to me and said, this is what's happening. I just wanted you to know. Came up to me and said, this is what's happening. I just wanted you to know. And I asked her, would you be willing to write a statement to that so that I can, go after them? And she said, no, I can't, because she had no balls. None. She was afraid of the school system and how her child might be impacted. You believe that shit? So when a school is going to make you afraid of actually banding together as parents, what's the point of what is this society? What is this thing they call SPC? What is this called? These groups that these parents get together. I forgot what the fuck it is, but it's worthless because everyone's very self-important and only wants to, the cookie sale and the this sale and let's fundraise for this and that, but they're not actually fighting for the rights of children who are the most vulnerable. They're not. They're just sitting around feeling very, very self-important in that moment. That, oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm going to the PTA meeting and we're doing a bake sale. And meanwhile, there are kids that are poor that can't afford math tutoring. Where is that money going? Is it going for math tutoring or is it going for some other bullshit? Oh, let's buy more books at school. There was a list of books. There was a thing that all kids get. It's a scholastic list of all, books to buy. And PTA I never saw PTA mothers get together and give like $100 voucher to each parent that couldn't afford to get those books on the scholastic list. Couldn't afford it. So we as a society need to change the way we view things. When you sit in classroom and you see, if it's not your child being bullied, but you see nuances and the teacher's not doing shit, which happens. Let's stop putting teachers on pedestals. They're fantastic teachers, but most of them are not. Okay? They're not. I remember going to classroom when I was in Pacific Palisades in California, one of the top, richest areas. Well, actually, one of the richest areas in California, probably in America, okay? Just so you know. Not bragging, just saying. And I remember walking into first class math. And the teacher walking in saying, I don't give a shit if you learn or not. Her words, not mine. I don't care if you learn or not. I don't give a shit. I get paid regardless. This was during busing in the 1970s, where they were busing kids from the ghettos into these schools. And imagine 40 kids, 30 chairs, 20 books. I'll never forget it. Never. So right off the bat, the teacher didn't give a shit because a choice she could have made, because we had an amazing campus. It's an amazing campus, like a park-like campus, like golf course type of shit. And she could have taken us out every day and had us learn on the lawn, like they did, in some of the universities and other high schools in the 70s. This is what kids would do. I remember doing that when I went to New York in Central Park. One of our professors would take us out to Central Park and we would do our lessons there for the fresh air, for the spring air. So there are teachers who don't give a fuck. And so if your kid is being bullied and you wonder, how is this happening? Well, it's happening because the teacher might even be egging it on. Because in all society, in all tribes that accept injustice, there will be a scapegoat. There are scapegoats in families. There are scapegoats in classes. And there are golden children in class. I mean, let's be honest. So bullying has many faces. But the one face we have to now look at and be aware of and call out, and we need to call it out, are subtle cyber bullies, content creators that think it's okay to stitch someone's faux pas, misstep, into a moment in their life which they deleted once they realized, oh fuck, I look like an asshole, let me take it down, and some bitch reposts it for likes, views, and to judge said person. We need to be more responsible. And we as leaders, because if you have a heart and you're empathic and you're a light bringer, then you're a leader. I'm anointing you as a leader. No, anoint yourself. And as a leader, you don't bully back. You say, was that necessary? Did you really need to repost someone's faux pas, misstep? And don't like it at all. Don't, and many people will start seeing those comments from you, from me, from other people. And people will start thinking about what they're allowing themselves to accept on their phone as appropriate content. They'll think twice about it. They'll go, wait, hang on. That's it's sticky. Okay? And they're confusing some of the content creators who do videos who expose Karens, racist, dangerous Karens. I'll give you an example. And thank God we have cameras today on our phones. A young African-American man was walking down the street, and an Asian man was in her garage. Her door was open, calling 911, telling the police that she was being threatened by a black man, and he was filming it. Thank fucking God. Thank God. And he didn't want to leave. Can you imagine what his heart was doing? It must have been beating so fast. He must have been so afraid. But he stood his ground. Why? Not to be in her face, but he knew that if I leave, they'll think I'm running from the scene of the crime. So he stayed and said, go ahead, call the police. I want them here. Because it was safer for him to take a chance than to run. So bullying comes in many forms. And she was crying, oh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And he was there, calmly taping. As calm as I think I would have been, I think I would have gone off on that bitch, frankly. Yeah, you probably know me by now. I would have. But I was still taped. It's horrific to see the absolute diabolical darkness in some people. You can't fathom it because you're not wired that way. It's not why do people act like that. It's like I have clients always saying, why are people like that? They're so sweet. They want to know why. And I'm like, it's kind of like Manhunter. It's like it's an incredible show. It was a movie actually by Michael Mann, who directed Miami Vice as well. But the detective had to go into the head of a serial killer, think like he thought. You don't want to do that. You don't want to understand why people do that. What you do need to do is understand that people are capable of doing that and accept that as part of the reality of 3D and deal with it accordingly. Meaning, you don't let it just hang. You don't just scroll on. You don't just ignore. You go, was that necessary to shame this person? Did you get anything out of it except 1,000 likes or 100,000 likes? And I think that's what we need to start doing. Just like we call out pedos and hustlers and grifters and men who have 3 wives and, fucking 12 children and people who have harmed the elderly, nurses that slap elderly people around and thank God it's on camera. And we find out who that is so they can never be hired anywhere in the country. Things like that. That's valid. That's not bullying. That's like fucking protecting our most innocent and our most vulnerable. Of course we're going to do that. It's not the same. We have to understand the difference. And it's not very hard to figure out. Let me read your comments if there's... And it's not very hard to figure out. Let me read your comments if there's any... let me see. Any comments? Thank you. Thank you, Andromeda. So let me see. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on. I've got a wonderful live that I did with Andromeda Flame, come to think of it. Follow her. She has amazing videos on chakras and love and so forth. And so follow her. Also follow me on YouTube, because you will see my Raw Talk with the Divine Masculine. It's a show I do once a week with 2 Divine Masculines. We're going to invite someone else soon that's going to be a guest. And then also I did an amazing live with Andromeda Flame. You'll see my dog, Misha, God bless her, who flew away to wait for me. And you'll see her face. And that's the video. Go check out that video. You really enjoy it. It's really cool. It's about all kinds of things, It's about conversations you have with your best friends, And we try to have multiple dialogue. We travel. I agree with every word. We need to do much more responsible. Yes, we have to call people out. Okay, we cannot allow because that little woman, probably in her late 20s, early 30s, she's blonde. And the woman on the video that I described was very, very blonde, like really white blonde hair, who clearly probably has trauma. No, not probably. She does, because no one acts like that over any item on the internet. Not hyperventilating and almost having a fucking full-on panic attack over lip gloss. No one. It's not trite shit. It's deep-seated shit, and this is how we need to understand how people express their trauma, and the average pedestrian-minded person will look at it at its face instead of saying, "Holy shit, what happened to you, little girl? My God, who did this to you?" Right? Thank you, my love. And when I see people, and I can say that because I've been fluctuating in weight my entire life. I'm in massive shape, then I'm in fucking slobbering shape. And it's from the trauma of being SA'd as children. The children who are SA'd, and sometimes I look at people that are like 400 or 500 pounds, I go, yeah, there's no way. That's not a normal childhood. You don't eat your feelings to that level because you had a happy childhood and you were safe and people loved you and everything was appropriate. No, that's trauma. It's not lack of discipline. It's trauma. Don't look at me like that. Don't see me, don't touch me, don't come near me. And you could say, well, there are a lot of people that are dressed sexy and this is that. Read between the lines of what's happening. Just like when you see a woman whose thighs are the size of your forearm, her whole entire thigh, that's trauma. And people will snicker at that. Snicker. like judging a woman like that. Do you realize that a person that does that to themselves has a full-on World War III in their emotional state, in their mental state? This is massive suffering. And the only energy that we should send a person that we see in either states of body dysmorphia is love. Lots and lots and lots of love, and visualizing them in their perfect state for them, whatever that is, blessing them on our way. Just like when you look at homeless people and people go, why are you giving money? Why not? What you think I'm going to give it to the Red Cross? Are you kidding? So the fat cat can make his $1.2 million a year. They just exposed a woman who was who had a food bank, nonprofit food bank. She was paying herself $731,000 per year. That's how much donations she was hitting for a food bank. $731,000. You and I would live on that for probably 20 years. Am I wrong? Happily, with massive gratitude. Like literally live on it. And yet, we look up to people like that. We think that because their FICO score is 900, 850, they did something right. Some did. Some aren't, but some of them. It's a form of bullying. You know that, right? And so when we look at homeless people, we have to look at them with massive compassion. Massive. Let's not forget, Yeshua's mother and father were homeless. They were homeless. Let's remember the truth of our experiences, and the truth of our bank accounts does not make us unworthy or worthy. Elon Musk is not a person I would ever want to break bread with. I'm not even curious. Well, why does he think? I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care at all. But there are people out there that you may not find to be successful or in society's idea of success who I'd love to have dinner with. In fact, I'd probably want to have meals, break many, many meals with them, break bread. And they probably make $9,000 a year. We have to change our understanding. And bullying, and the way people bully, is always based on the haves and have-nots. And on emotional implosions. And it has no value in 5D New Earth. It has no value. We, as the light bringers, we, as the bringers of 5D consciousness on this planet, will not tolerate that kind of behavior. That doesn't mean we become bullies. It simply means in the comments we say, was that necessary? Was that kind to Stitch repost this video? This person is in pain. Why would you do that? Question mark. Move on. And people will see it before this person deletes it and blocks you or whatever. Or actually has the mendacity because to actually respond to it on social media. Which is good because at that point you can actually rebut. Not to start a fight, but to call them out and go, back the fuck off, little girl or little boy. You're fucking with the wrong person here. Kindness, honor, empathy, generosity is all I'm about. And I'm here to help people understand the difference between what I'm trying to shine on, our best, our best selves, and to avoid the shadows that are so quick to point and denigrate and shame people who are not where we think they need to be. And we, as light bringers, need to start doing that. So don't just scroll. Watch it. Look at the comments. And the comments are bullying. And if that girl comes across those comments, let's say, God bless her, she actually comes across that video after she personally deleted that going, I fucked up, I shouldn't have acted like that. My God, she sobered up emotionally, got her nervous system back into an aligned place, right? And then, oh my God, why did I do that? But meanwhile, 10 assholes fucking downloaded it because they thought it was funny. And they thought, let me go shame this chick. But it's gone on her actual, yeah. That needs to be called out, so that the person maybe sees your comment saying, "Well, I'm not a complete, like some people understand what I'm going through." Anyway, I hope this helps. I hope please share this particular live because I can't afford to eat. I lost 40 pounds. I'm sorry about that. I hope you have a GoFundMe, because that should not be. I agree with every word. We need to be much more responsible. Thank you, Andromeda. So I'm trying to look here. So thank you, my love. So yeah, Jackie, if you have a GoFundMe, don't be embarrassed. Just say, because there are people. It's one thing to fast because you want to. It's another. There's fasting for health and starving. And I'm glad you brought this up because, again, we shame people who are poor, who go to the food bank and who need help. And I'm going to tell you a little story that was really cool. It's a New York story. It's kind of a New York type of deal. In the 1950s, I can't speak beyond that, but in the 1950s, stage actors would have what they call a rent party. I can't speak beyond that, but in the 1950s, stage actors would have what they call a rent party. And a rent party was the apartment was open. It was an open door party. People would bring, booze, gin, whiskey, scotch, wine, champagne, whatever. And they would bring a potluck type of deal, right? Excuse me. And in the trash can, at the opening of the door, people would drop money in the trash can to help the person raise their rent. And so it was called a rent party. So it was no uncertain term. People knew what it was about. It was, I'm going to have a party. I'm going to have my trash can. I'm going to put it by the door and you guys drop money in it. So yeah, come to my rent party without even saying, I'm raising money for my rent. It was more like saying rent party, code red. We're walking in, we're helping this starving artist in New York City. This was a thing, believe it or not. And so GoFundMe, in a sense, is more of a international, right? I think it's an international, I'm not sure, way of helping people so they don't starve. By the way, in terms of churches and food banks and churches that offer food, some of the donators are Trader Joe's. Believe it or not, you can call Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and ask them, where do you donate, especially the one that's local to your neighborhood. And they will tell you who they donate to. They'll give you the phone number so you can go there and get Trader Joe's stuff, like frozen chicken breast and things of that nature. I'm not joking. So call Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and say, I'm under, ask for the captain, the captain, that's the title to give for the Trader Joe's stores, and asked for, where do you donate all your food stuff? Like, what are the charities, churches, food banks you go to? And go there. And sometimes they have allocated days, and sometimes if you say, I haven't eaten in 5 days, Jackie, they will do an emergency where they'll, especially churches, they'll open their fridges and put together a box for you so you can eat. Okay? So that's important. You need to know that, okay? So you don't have to starve, because starving is not the same consciousness as fasting. Fasting is spiritual. Starving is lack, fear, hunger, stress, cortisol, sleepless nights, trying to find anything you can eat. Maybe you have sugar in the fridge and tap water, and that's all you got. So I know how that is, okay? And no one in a Western country, fucking no one in the world should starve. That should never fucking happen. Never. And we've normalized it. The fact that we're having a famine right here in the USA says a lot, don't you think? Because what people don't understand is that even our governments, our Fed workers bully people, right? I don't have to give you the alphabet channels of who, but some of these even social workers, they bully people because they know that you are at their mercy and they can, in one stroke, fuck you over. I had a friend who was homeless and he got a food card for $48. That was it. $48 a month. And the food worker or social worker said, well, you're homeless. It's not like you're paying rent. They're out there, my friends. Cruelty and bullying is everywhere. It's in every aspect of our society, and we need to start flipping the switch on this shit. Don't be passive. Don't tolerate that shit. You want 5D? You want New Earth? It doesn't get handed to you. You got to earn that shit. You got to earn it. That means you got to do shit that you may feel uncomfortable. Your throat chakra may tighten. I don't care if you're shaking in your boots. Fucking say something. Okay? Say something. All right, my loves. I'm going to go. I will upload this as usual. My lives are so popular because what I say hurts. It hurts the ego. And it's the exact thing I want to punch out of your consciousness. The ego should never be your boss. Your soul needs to be your boss. Your soul needs to have the voice. And when your ego is offended, then I'm doing my job, and your job is to look at your ego and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? Basically, call out your ego. What the fuck is wrong with you? This is triggering you? Well, let's work on why I'm being triggered by what Tony is saying on this live. Why is it triggering me? See, that's a sign of aligning yourself to healing and ascension. Why? Because you're willing to look at the darkest parts of your shadows and call it out. I do this every day. I have to. If I want to win this last incarnation, I've got to call my ego out. You have to call it too. And you have to kindly, gently, and forcefully sometimes reject people who are hell-bent on using social media to their platform to belittle, shame, and post things that they have no business posting, especially if the person deleted it. All right, my loves, I'll upload this on my YouTube channel. It's Sacred Intimacy Tarot on YouTube. Check out my Raw Talk with Men, the Divine Masculines. They're amazing. The last one was mind-blowing. And then the talk with Andromeda Flame, you'll see the dog. You'll see that. All right, much love. Namaste.